damn show. Hang on, record there. I just love doing this live. There we go. All right, it is day 11 of my COVID experience. You are listening to The Tom Kelly Show. When Chris Abbate convinced me to do a solo podcast, I wanted to serve my existing fan base by finding guests who were in transitional stages of life who I thought could inspire the listeners, because I have found them inspiring to me and myself. Our first guest on the show is Carla, Marie, and Anthony. They were big radio personalities in Seattle. They host the My Day Friday podcast on iHeartMedia, and they are on Twitch, that little crazy app Twitch that Chris Abbate has convinced me to sign up for.
Not little anymore.
It's getting bigger by the minute, and if I could figure out how to set it up, we will be on Twitch.
I will help you with that, Tom. No worries.
I already recorded that interview, and it's just full of useful information for anybody who wants to go into broadcasting. It's full of useful information for anybody who got fired from a job. And I don't want to say they got fired, but they got fired. They got fired. They got bumped. They got caught in the radio game of there's only so many radio stations in a market, only so many personalities can be on air, and they got shafted and all that, though I would love to work with the new guy, whoever he is, so I don't want to badmouth him, but they have turned, and that's become our slogan, they've turned their 2020 lemons into 2020 lemonade. And with us now is a woman who I have found inspiring for the opposite of reasons, because I have just,
turning lemonade into lemons.
Well, yeah, you are. Yeah, you're just taking your lemonades and reversing it. No, you're different because, and then we have Kim Layne, who is Miss Idaho 2020. Kim went to Cornell. She's studying to be a vet. She has another master's degree. Anyway, you ever just meet someone and say, she's on an upswing? But what's amazing about Kim is, she had all these dreams semi-crushed by COVID with her Miss USA thing, and then rebounded quick. And just the attitude she had when we would talk throughout 2020 has just been inspiring to me.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah. So we'll kiss your ass later in the show. Kim's also on my shit list. And so are Carla, Marie, and Anthony, who are on the show. And so are pretty much the next 3 weeks worth of guests we have coming in. During COVID, this is why I don't plan. Chris, I don't know if you know this about me. Like, I cannot, if you or Kim asked me to come visit you for New Year's, and again, my preference is Kim, but honestly, realistically, it's going to be you, Chris.
I'll accept you.
Yeah, you're my safety plan, Chris. But I hate planning ahead, because then what happens is everybody says yes at once when all I wanted was one thing to do. And then Carla, Marie, and Anthony, they were busy. I got another guest whose name I can't remember right now, who has a comedy special. That's the COVID talking. Anyway, he was busy. They all said yes at once. So I decided to supersize this show.
But Tom, let's not forget that you did have one of the biggest guests last week in COVID.
Yes. And so now, if this is what annoys me about you, my listeners, I get COVID. We have outrated The Bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay. I get COVID. We have outrated Mario Cantone. The only show we have not outrated yet is Darren Page from Double Shot at Love. Do you guys watch that show?
I'm not, no.
Yeah. Well, she's huge. So now the pressure's on you, Kim Layne. The goal is we're going to supersize this show, and my new ratings gag is I'm on day 11 of COVID. That will be in the description and blow everybody's mind. And I'm just going to record a whole year's worth of shows in the next 3 days. And everybody listening and looking at the podcast feed will be like, this is the only man I know who was quarantined for a year. He is taking that Fauci way too seriously.
Go for the world record.
Kim, you didn't listen to my show until I got COVID.
Yeah, well, there's nothing that sounds funnier than a comedian with COVID. So Sorry.
All right. You know what? This went 17 minutes. This is going to get cut down to 3. We'll be back in a second with Carla Marie and Anthony giving us great wisdom on how to handle life if you get fired. Then hang on for after that, the runner-up of Miss USA, second place, Kim Layne, here to tell us about her adventure. Could you give me the 60-second Carla Marie and Anthony success story? I know them from when they were on Elvis Duran in the Morning Show. Then they went to Seattle.
Because we're unemployed, so the whole success thing is weird.
I'll give you the story. I've gotten decent at this. So Anthony and I'll start from when we met. Anthony and I met while working at Elvis Duran in the Morning Show in around 2009, 2010. 2014, while at Elvis's show, we decided to start a podcast before it was like super cool to do a podcast. And we started a podcast called My Day Friday. And then in end of 2015, iHeartRadio came to us and were like, hey, you guys are like decent at this. Do you want your own morning show in Seattle? And we said, sure. Moved out to Seattle, like drove across the country, started our own morning show. And then we kind of got not ping pong. What is that called?
Yeah, ping pong's a good word. Shuffle.
Pinballed all around the iHeart Seattle market. They took us from one station to another station and then another station.
Nights on another station and then mornings on that same station.
All doing a show together, all doing the show for iHeartRadio. And then this July, we got replaced. And here we are now doing a show on Twitch 3 mornings a week, twitch.tv/Carla Marie and Anthony. It's kind of like podcast meets morning show meets a TV
live
show.
Stream, yeah.
Okay, that is a lot to digest. So the big thing, no, but if we're getting the plugs out of the way top, catch them on Twitch, Carla Marie and Anthony. Catch them. Their new old podcast is back at iHeartMedia under the Elvis Duran banner, My Day Friday. It was one of the first good podcasts at iHeart.
I think it was, we are credited for having one of the first original consistent morning show podcasts.
Well, we weren't, I guess.
We were part of a morning show. Yeah. We did our thing. I don't know if I'd call all of them good, but it was decent enough to get some attention.
The two of you just got fired from a company that you've had your entire careers at. But you handled that transition with grace. You are on this new weird platform, Twitch, that half of the people listening to this podcast don't know what it is. I know enough to listen to you and my friend Chris Abbate, who sometimes hosts this show with me. Outside of that, I can't figure out how to turn the damn thing on.
And it is very confusing at first.
Yeah.
It is.
But what are your goals? I've always said you two are meant to have a TV show, and maybe this is it, but just smaller.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that we are seeing this surge in the change in the way that people get their content. So in this world of everyone's home, or you hear companies like Amazon saying, yep, we're not sending anyone back to work ever. Like everyone's saying home, Microsoft, at least here in Seattle, like the commute is changed forever. And radio survives on the commute. So I think at any time for us to be let go from radio, it's now in this time when people are home. So how do we capitalize on that? By doing the show on Twitch. And to explain quickly what Twitch is, it's really just like watching Good Morning America or the Today Show, but in a podcast form on your computer. You can stream it to your TV, but it's just this whole new world of how we get content. So we're looking at it like, all right, if everyone is open right now, right? People have open minds on how to get their content, then let's give them something new and let's jump on it while we can. And we saw a difference when kids went back to school. The listenership actually and viewership kind of went down because parents were focusing on their kids being in school, but it's gone back up again because yes, there's more people checking in, but they're back in the swing of things. So for us, it's like, why don't we, if we get into this world now and keep going, don't lose the momentum, then we can actually build a decent following and run our own show, not have to answer to anyone else and just run the show through this platform on Twitch.
Well, that's what a friend of mine said, that I should get Twitch and my show should just be me losing at Fortnite to 8-year-olds all day.
You could, and that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
It would be great. But we're using it for something a little different, obviously, in terms of doing a show. But you can use it for anything. It's just a live streaming platform that gives you a lot of options.
How are Carla Marie and Anthony different on Twitch versus radio versus podcasting on My Day Friday?
I would say that Twitch and My Day Friday are very similar. Very, very similar. The difference is we have constant live interaction with the people listening. You don't have that with a podcast. With Twitch, it's like an AOL chat room, and every person that is watching your show is interacting with you live. There's really no other medium where you can do that. Not even radio, not that fast, not that quick. It's not that easy. So we're, for the first time, getting that live interaction, which is something I think was our favorite part about radio, period. Yeah. So to have it, just even more is just amazing for us. Yeah. But how is our show different? Obviously, we are way less structured podcast on Twitch. I mean, our radio show was not as structured as some shows, but too structured for us. I'll say too structured for me. I think that having to talk on the radio for 3 minutes at a time when you're on a show at that point with 4 people is ruined your creativity completely. And you don't have the time to get your point across. So imagine this podcast just being 3 minutes. It would be awful. Like you wouldn't get to do anything.
The continuity is also tough because you're having a conversation that might span, on the radio specifically, 3, maybe 4, if you're lucky, different breaks, if you will.
In between commercials.
But you're
and
having songs and commercials play, so you have to reintroduce your audience every time you talk about it. So continuity is tough on the radio. But it is, listen, it's bite size. It is what it is. It's for a very specific audience,
which is a community, because people have these, I don't want to say fan bases, but our users interact with one another, and they know each other now. And then you have these podcasts that have this cult following, and these people know each other. You don't see that as much in radio other than Elvis's show.
And that's funny because that's the following I have right now, and I'm actually eager to build it. It makes me feel good. I can probably name, if there's 300 downloads last week. By the way, having coronavirus was great for my ratings. Yeah. I suggest that for the two of you. I got enough of a cold here. I don't miss people. That's how I know I'm not 100% better. I could do another 2 or 3 days of not talking to people. But overall, I have found that the one thing that I like about podcasting versus radio and stand-up is I'm trying to tap into my inner Oprah a little bit. Do you find that you're deeper on either of these formats at all?
I'd say, yeah. Well, I was going to say earlier is that I am more myself on Twitch and the podcast than I ever was on the radio. And that goes back to having the time and not feeling like you need to perform and get something out quick and it's also just the two of us. I think when you have more people on a show, it's much harder.
But there's also benefits to having more people, too. Of course.
But I am more myself here. When it comes to being deeper, I think it's almost even, because there were plenty of moments on our show, big life moments that we shared. So I think it's about the same. We used to cry on the air all the time,
which is weird.
You too, Anthony. I've never heard.
I've cried on the air. And I think it's weird when for some reason, I don't know what it is about a radio studio specifically, whether it's the live element, and sometimes you're put on the spot and you don't really you don't have time to pause and
breathe
and digest and process your feelings. So sometimes emotional crap just comes out. But I'd say you're able to take a chance more on a podcast or on a Twitch stream or a YouTube video, because at the end of the day, what I love about all of it, and we've touched on a lot of different parts, is you kind of live and die success-wise by your own actions for the most part. So I'm okay saying, hey, we tried this. It was my idea and it failed, but at least I tried it and I feel good about trying it. Whereas in the radio or just traditional media in general, TV, radio, I guess newspapers, part of that as well, sometimes you're forced to do things you don't want to do, and you have to, you're the visualization, you're the face of that failure or success, whether or not you wanted to do it. And I think that's a huge thing for me, is I am okay saying that I failed at something if it was an idea that I got behind from the get-go. Mm-hmm. I do not feel as good if we succeeded or failed on something when we were forced or pushed or prodded in that direction.
And I want to start getting into the real deep and fun stuff because there's two or three things we have in common right now. You guys are broadcasting from home rather than being in a studio. Do you miss the energy of being in a studio? I miss the magic of being in a TV studio, but and it's weird to broadcast when I'm doing the Tamron Hall work. I'll broadcast for 60 to 100 people from my laptop, and I find that rewarding yet creepy. If that makes sense. Like when I had the coronavirus nightmares, I was having nightmares that I couldn't turn off the Zoom and they were watching me in every room in a house. And like, how do you feel about broadcasting from Carla Marie's new home, is it?
Yeah.
Or new house?
It is. Once we're done with the Twitch stream, the first thing I do is I unplug everything.
Yeah.
Like, the last thing I need to do is leave this stuff on. And there's like a crotch shot of me trying to unplug a camera.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do miss the energy. And the thing I miss, I don't know if it's the energy, but it's the separation.
Yeah.
It's the idea of I am on my way to the place where I need to work/perform. And I like that because for me, it's kind of like when I used to play sports in high school and college. It's like, I'm going to do my thing now. I'm on my way to do my thing. Whereas, and all of us can speak to this, when you wake up in the same place that you're going to work, it's weird. You just don't get that energy.
Yes, but at the same time, it's funny that you're asking this today of all days. This morning, my alarm was going off and I was like, wow, if I ever have to leave my house to go to work again, that's going to suck. And I think there's part of it of this comfort level of it's easy. I don't have to think too much. I don't have to be on a crazy schedule to get to somewhere on time. I don't have to go outside in the rain or whatever it may be, cold. There's just like this little bit of lazy part of at least me where it's like, I love this.
Yeah.
But the separation, like if we had a mini studio somewhere, like a storefront.
Yeah, maybe you should have bought a bigger house.
I know, but like a little storefront or something.
No, but that's one of the things paralyzing me right now is I don't know where the hell I want to live right now. And I know you've dabbled in real estate. I know you two are now, I don't want to say marooned in Seattle. Like, do you want to stay in Seattle? You both have family in Jersey though.
I think, it's going back to, I don't know where I want to live. If we get to have our own business and actually do this for real, we have the ability to live anywhere in the world, essentially.
Just give us internet.
And we're fine. So it's the same thing as you. It's like, okay, well, if I don't have to be in Seattle, although I love this city, I bought a home here. I love it here. I have some of the best friends I've ever had in my whole life are here in Seattle, but my entire family and the rest of my life is all in New Jersey for me. Yeah. Why would I live over 3,000 miles away?
And that's what I'm going through. And I'm only dealing with a 30-mile drive to Long Island. No, but even with having Corona and being alone in the city, thank God for delivery. But there were I had to ask, there's a nice woman next door, Gina. Gina took care of the elderly woman who lived in the basement for a year. The lady died about 6 years ago. And then there was a night where I ran out of Advil. And I then had to call the neighbor as if I were the elderly woman.
Jeez.
And I said, could you please go to the store and get me this, this, and this? Because I didn't want to infect the people at the grocery store. And she actually then wound up doing my grocery shopping for me like I was an elderly woman.
That's amazing, though.
I guess question number one is, why haven't you built a home studio, or will you build a home studio? Or is it just more fun to stay in your living room? And then question two is, why not come east now?
Right. I started not building a little studio, but I just put like soundproofing on my spare bedroom earlier this year when I was broadcasting from home for the radio show. And I think once we got let go, or even once people started getting losing their jobs everywhere before we got let go, I was like, all right, nothing is safe now. So I stopped doing permanent things to my home.
Yeah.
Just had this mindset of, I'm not going to be here. I just kept saying that.
Yeah.
So I think I've had this in my mind, like, oh, I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be here, with no plans to not be here. I just felt like that. So I live in a townhome, which is great for one person with a studio, not so much. And also Anthony is officially, as of a week ago, my new roommate.
Yeah.
So
is what I love about that. Listen, and I've said this before. I don't know. I always say I'm in love with Carla Marie, but I mean that in a big brothery sort of a way, I really want the two of you to get married and have babies. And I know I'm not the only one rooting for this. The two of you have the vibe and always have had the vibe of a couple that's been married 20 years.
We're like, I always forget. I always say Chandler and Monica, but that's not what I mean. Ross and Rachel. We're just going to string everyone along and we'll see what happens in the last season.
Like I find, and let me project me onto you, but I find you're 30 now, by now, both of you, right? Yeah. Okay, so I found when I started hitting 30, there were all these great girls who I was just friends with. And I said, God, maybe I should start dating that. Maybe that's what I needed. And you're both gorgeous and you both could do better than the other. But on the other hand, why?
It's funny. I used to say by the time we're 40, if we're not married, we have to marry each other. But we were like 23 and 27 then, and now it's getting too close.
It's a little closer now.
I made that deal with somebody who then called me at 40 and I'm like, no. that was just to pacify you at age 26. That was never going to happen. I'm sorry if you held out for 14 years.
I will say this. I don't know if there is a reason to why or why not we have not like done anything, but I posted something. It was a picture from Elvis's wedding. Actually, I posted it Saturday night and so many people commented with, "Oh my God, when are you guys going to get married?" And I'll say this publicly. If we hit 100,000 followers on our Twitch channel, we'll get married. That's it.
All right. Like, I think that's an announcement.
His dad is a jeweler. Do I at least get a ring out of it?
Yeah, he'll give you a ring or something.
Oh my God, dude, if I knew your dad was a jeweler, I'd be flirting with you. Because it's funny, at 30, you start saying, should I have dated the girls who were flirting with me in my 20s? Then at 40, you go, should I have been dating some of those guys who were flirting with me in my 30s?
Yeah, you just, at some point, you just take all comers, it's just whatever. You show up.
Oh my God. Yeah, you know what's funny? I can't imagine you two having sex, but I could imagine you two raising a child.
Our show and our podcast are literally like children to us, so I can see that.
Also, we've had Ricky, who I think you're
Ricky
familiar
Sanchez.
with.
I love Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky's great. She came on the second half of this unemployment road trip.
Fun
employment road trip we did. And I think everyone felt like Ricky was our child
I felt
along
like Ricky
the way.
Was
I could see that.
Good.
And it's funny, when you're with Ricky, you feel the urge to adopt her.
Yeah, you do.
She's pint size.
Again, you turned pandemic and getting fired into something awesome. You guys, rented an RV and traveled the country. That's what I've wanted to do, right?
Use my car. No, I wish we had an RV.
Wait,
we used my Jeep Cherokee.
That's what that was in?
Yeah, the whole thing.
And the two of you are living together. You traveled cross country in a Cherokee and you're still friends. You should get married.
It's, this has been, so I've only lived with Carla Marie.
You have fought way more since being let go than ever though.
Yeah, but I've lived now with Carla Marie at the time that we're recording this for a full week. And
kill him sometime.
If we don't kill each other, by the time Christmas rolls around, because that's going to be really the first time that we're going to be separate since we got let go, then I think that our friendship and whatever we do down the road work-wise is safe.
This guy leaves on lights in every room that he's not in. I want to kill him.
Well, that's because you're paying the electricity right now.
No, he's not. No, he's playing half now.
Is he?
He will.
We didn't talk about that yet.
Actually, has living together been good for the show?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny. The first show that we did after officially you moving in, it was crazy. I've never seen this before, at least on Twitch. There were so many comments in there. And then I started getting texts from friends afterwards saying that was my favorite show. That was the best show. And I don't know what it is. You would think we have less things to talk about because we're living the same life now. But I don't know. I don't know what it was. I don't know what the reasoning is. I think maybe it was because we had the whole moving and things to share and whatever. But yeah, I think it makes the show more fun. But it is true. We do have less outside conversations to bring to the table.
And I think going back to what you asked about, Tom, about
making babies.
No, about going to a studio and do you miss that energy of going to the studio? I think the one thing, as opposed, because I mentioned I miss the anticipation of, I'm going to work or I'm going to do my thing now. The one thing that I think we're all missing, especially in this profession where you talk about things that happen in your life, conversations that happen in your life, the one thing we're all really missing are those additional random interactions and conversations. Mm-hmm. So if anything, that is the one thing that I'm really excited to get back once things are safe. Whether it's having a weird conversation with someone at the gym or the grocery store or walking down the street, because those become little anecdotes that you bring in and you can expand on. But we're all kind of starved of that right now.
I want to weave on this. What advice do you have for people who are trying to turn their 2020 lemons into 2021 lemonade?
Ooh.
Well,
by the way, I spent a week writing that one.
Why do you always send those ones to me?
I'll tell you why, because Carla Marie has also done this podcast for what, 3 years now? 2 years?
Side Hustlers? Oh my God, it's almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years, called Side Hustlers with Carla Marie. You can search it anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Now available again on iHeartRadio all over again.
All right.
Yeah.
What you've done really well with that podcast is there are so many people who have this side hustle who have turned lemons into lemonade.
Yes.
So with all of that experience, there's got to be something that you've taken personally and you can give to everyone else. I'll have something once you're done.
So in, like Anthony said, with my podcast, I talk to small business owners. Some of them are people who started side hustling, meaning they work their 9-to-5 corporate job and then work in their small business when they get home, or people who have taken that small business and made it their full-time job. So after spending 2.5 years hearing those stories, over 100 of them, when we got let go, I remember having to say to Anthony, no, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's going to be fine. And I don't need to tell you why or how. I just know it is, because every single human I have talked to on my podcast who said, when I got let go, or when this happened, or when I got laid off or missed a promotion at work, that's when the good stuff happened. That's when I had the time to work on my small business. That's when I repurposed my life, or figured out my actual purpose. That's when I reworked my priorities. That's when I found my overall purpose. And then I was able to actually do what I loved. And I had Anthony was in this world of just mess, and I was there for 2 days, and then I said, no, I'm telling you, this is amazing, we're gonna be fine.
I was ready to light the world on fire. I had my can of gasoline. I had a box of matches. I was gonna go set everything on fire.
I was like, no, get the fireworks, this is gonna be awesome. And if I didn't have those conversations, I would have been in the same bucket as Anthony, and I think we were able to pull each other out of that a lot. So advice-wise, it's just, this year is shit, and it's shit for a lot of people. So it's kind of great that we're all going through this at the same time, and you're not losing your job, sitting home while everyone is out spending their money at the bar, because no one can be doing that. So use this time, sulk if it happens to you, get the sleep you need to get the rest you need to get, be a total bum. I kept telling Anthony, I just need to be a bum for a little bit. I never get to be a bum. But then listen to a podcast in an area you're passionate about. I've been listening to productivity podcasts because I'm I need to now come up with a plan on how to schedule things, because I don't have a boss scheduling meetings all day for me. I need to figure out now how to do my life. Then what's next? I'm not sure, but listen to a podcast and something you're passionate about. There's free YouTube videos you can watch on anything you're passionate about. There's that masterclass thing I know Elvis always talks about on his show that you can look into. Just find the smallest things you're passionate about. And that's what someone who was on my podcast, Tanisha from Law Beauty, she knew she wanted to own a company, but she didn't know what. And she was like, well, what do I like? I always loved doing my nails with my mom growing up. So she launched her own nail polish company.
Wow.
And that was a side hustle to being a flight attendant. And now she doesn't have anything else because her airline laid everyone off. So she's just doing her nail polish company. She's actually based in Brooklyn. And she just knew that she loved doing her nails all the time. So she launched a nail polish company. And she's like, it doesn't have to be this big grand thing. If you like baking cookies, maybe you find a new line of chocolate chips that needs to be in the world. Literally anything. So I think it's making a list of 100 things that you love and find something that you can do with that.
Yeah, I think to expand on that for a second, I think if you can do something that you're okay not being a millionaire doing, you're probably on the right track. And who knows, that'll probably end up being the most successful thing you do. But I'm terrible at giving direct answers. So I'm going to give you two things in terms of making 2020 lemons into lemonade. I think the first step one is whatever your lemon is, whether it is relationship loss, personal loss, medical loss, financial loss, professional loss, whatever that lemon is. What I've said to a lot of people that have gotten laid off from the radio business is all of the emotions you're going to go through are real emotions and they're all valid. So you're going to go through being angry, sad, pissed off, happy, elated, whatever. Feel all of those emotions, lean into them. But I'd say the biggest thing that I learned is lean into and onto the people who are there for you at your lowest moment. There have been so many people, and I consider myself grateful, and obviously we're doing this right after Thanksgiving, so thankful for so many people who reached out, offered a helping hand, offered advice or kind words when they didn't need to. There was nothing in it for them. You know, we weren't doing anything. We just got laid off. There was nothing we could do for anybody with any sort of platform. And Tom, you're 100% on that list of people that we're thankful for. So lean onto those people, lean into their opinions, their thoughts, see if they can help you out, and don't be embarrassed to do that. Because one of the things that I think we all do is we let our pride get in the way of a lot of the things we want to do because we don't want to ask for advice or help or things like that. And I will say this, I said this before we started recording, Tom, and I'm going to say it to blow some smoke up your butt, is one of the most beneficial things anyone has said to me was a message that you sent me. I believe it was on Facebook. And you said, hey, I want to give you this piece of advice because I think I started a little too late from when I should have, but start a mailing list. I don't know if you even remember sending me that message or not.
When did he send that to you?
Because I've been saying that a lot lately too. When did I tell you that?
I want to say it was like 3, maybe even somewhere between 2 and 4 years ago. You said it was a random message on Facebook.
That's where you got the idea for the mailing list?
And it sat there in my head. It percolated for a while.
It's funny because then I had people start, like, a friend said it to me. She's like, you know, if you lose everyone on Instagram, you lose them. They're not yours. You don't own any of those people.
Yeah.
And we started it. I don't know how long it took from when you told me, gave me that idea to when we did it, but it wasn't that long. I would say it was less than 6 months. And it's become one of the most valuable tools that we had. So if you're in the world that the three of us are in, where it's kind of a public facing world,
newsletter.
Start that newsletter because when everything else fails, when you get taken off the radio, if you're not on Good Morning America at the moment, if you don't have Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, that will still be there.
The irony is we're going to promote this podcast on our newsletter now.
Well, and you ready for the funny third thing is I'll add to that advice now. Get mailing addresses just in case. I don't trust any of this stuff. This all goes back to, and it's funny, you want to know why I give that advice so much? A friend of mine, Chris Maloney, told me in 2009 when I was at the peak of my Facebook fame, when all I had to do was just put something out and it got 10,000 hits. And his line was, don't trust those Facebook people, Tom. And he's right. The algorithm keeps changing. Like TikTok was great. I have a nice little following on TikTok, but not anymore. For some reason, I'm not promoted as much. The minute they change that algorithm, you're out. Yeah. You know,
you can't be in just one place. You can't, like, because you never know. Like, look at all the Vine people who were famous on Vine.
Anyway, the two of you are fantastic. Carla Marie and Anthony, My Day Friday. They're pushing it on the iHeartMedia app, but you can find it in other places. They're also on Twitch, and they what anything else we're pushing? Their mailing list is at carlamarieandanthony.com.
You can actually get to it from there, but it's also on both of our Instagrams and the show Instagram, Carla Marie and Anthony. It's all linked there.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you search Carla Marie and Anthony on any of those platforms, you can get it. Twitch, the easiest thing is twitch.tv/Carla Marie and Anthony. If you're unfamiliar, we'll give you the crash course in it. And I think the one thing that the three of us can all say is that in terms of like advice or things for whatever success means down the road is don't be scared to try new things. Don't be scared to try new media and invite people into it. So Tom, thank you for inviting us. I texted this to Carla Marie the day I heard you guys got canned. The two of you are too big for radio, and I wish you luck on this adventure, man. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for all the wisdom and support you've given us. Hopefully we can give at least half of that back at some point.
I feel like Kim goes to concerts with that dance. Do you go to concerts? Like
a little bit, not too many though. Not like a festival gal.
I don't know, the last 8 weeks, She has inspired me for at least 4 of them. We have Miss Idaho 2020, Kim Layne. Kim, you came in 2nd place.
Yep. I was one of the last 2 up on that stage. It's kind of crazy to think that actually happened.
Well, it's funny. What was that experience like? Because I feel like coming in 2nd place, being the first runner up in a beauty pageant, is the most cruel award in life. And I'll tell you why. You tell me if this is right. So that when you do a beauty pageant, at the very end, it's like you take, all right, and the 5th runner-up is Miss Texas. Everybody claps, and she gets to do a little walk up and down the thing. Then the 4th runner-up, okay, it's Miss Arizona. She does a little walk down the thing, and then she comes up. All right, then the 3rd runner-up is Miss California. Notice how I'm doing this all geographically, by the way. Does the little walk, whatever. Then it's, Miss Colorado does the walk, and now it's down to 2. And then you're holding hands, and you have a chance at either being 1st place or 2nd place. And then they say, and the winner is Miss Mississippi. And then, by the way, and then the 2nd place was whoever. And then you kind of get blown off, and you don't get your big moment.
No one says my name. Yeah, that's
did
true.
They even
It would
say
be
your
cool if
name?
they said my name.
Like, is 3rd place better than 2nd place?
I mean, 2nd place is kind of cool. You can just, no one's focusing on you. They're just like, the winner is. Like, I could have done a dance on the side of the stage. No one would have known what I was doing.
Really? Now, do you get anything for being the 1st runner-up?
I didn't think I got anything, but apparently I get a little bit of a paycheck. So that's sweet. People are asking me, and I was like, I have no idea. Like, literally no clue.
But that's the part that I love about you. It's now 2 weeks since you have been 1st runner-up, and you haven't even Googled what you're getting out of this.
No, I like, people are asking me on this Miss USA Q&A on my Instagram, and I was like, you guys, I have no idea. If there's a prize involved, someone needs to tell me because it has not arrived at my door.
Don't you get, what do you know what you get for 1st place even?
I hear that, I think Asia got a Porsche. So I wouldn't mind a Porsche driving up to my house. But honestly, I just don't even think about the prizes. It's not really about that for me. Yeah.
No, and there you go. Let's start with that. You are a nerd. You went to Cornell. I love your nerdy pictures as much, if not more, than the swimsuit competition pictures.
Okay.
No, but Kim is all glammed up here right now. I love her big grandma glasses.
My gold-rimmed industrial grandma glasses.
Yeah, Sophia, Golden Girls. I am ready to tell you a story about Sicily 1920. When did you start doing pageants, and why? You just seem like the anti-pageant girl.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people. But the thing is, pageant girl, there's not a typical pageant girl anymore. And I don't think you can be all beauty and no brains and win a pageant in modern pageantry. So I got into it when I was 17. I didn't grow up with pageants. I grew up not ever wanting to put on a dress. I ran through fields of cow crap playing with cows.
Really?
I was joking.
Wait, did you actually grow up on a farm?
I grew up in a neighborhood right next to a farm. And so my parents are both 1st generation, not from agriculture. And I didn't kick the habit. I went into veterinary medicine and I ran through the fields with poop. Anyways, I got into pageants because I had friends doing it. I was being scouted to model. And I was like, I don't really get this whole pageant thing, but my friends are doing it and I can do volunteer work and do some sort of modeling type stuff. That's cool. And my friends are doing it. So I did it because my friends were doing it. And then I realized it was a lot more than what you see on stage.
Wait a second. I just want to point out that you went into pageantry for all the same reasons I started drinking and doing drugs.
Yeah, that's true. All good things involve friends, drinking, just kidding.
No, but for real, you went in, so you're from a small town in Idaho and other people from this small town were doing it?
But yeah, so I had a friend doing it and that's how I got into it. And I won the first time that I competed. I won Miss Idaho Teen USA. And I was if you see my expression, from when I was winning, my face was, Like it was that. I was like, what in the world? Like I won. I don't even know what to do now. So this entire year, I'm just trying to figure out like, what do I do here? So every day was a learning experience. And when I decided to compete again as Miss Idaho USA, I knew I wanted to win. I had a lot more to offer. And I like took an entire gap year from veterinary medicine because I wanted to represent my state, my family. I later realized I was representing my other country, the Philippines as well. So at the Miss USA pageant, like I'm a dual citizen and there's nothing that the Philippines loves more than pageants. Like pageants are their NFL. And I was like, please just say my name a few times so I can make the Philippines proud.
Okay. And you did that.
Yeah. I had more pressure, I think, coming from the Filipino side than the like American Idaho side of things. But I also just wanted to do well for myself and for the medical profession, like healthcare professionals that I represent as well.
I hear rumors on the internet when we Google Kim Layne on the internet, and it may sound creepy, but there are a lot of people who want you to run for Miss Philippines.
Yeah, so because I am a dual citizen and I meet the height requirements and all those specific details, I could run for Miss Philippines universe. And it is a thought in my mind. I do need to finish veterinary school though. And so I can't give anyone an answer right now that I have not excluded the possibility.
If America were campaigning here, you can finish vet school later, right? Or...
I mean, I could, but if people wanted to campaign for me, they would just push the age limit back like 1 year. Like, let me compete when I'm 29.
But can't you do vet school at 29 also? Like, can we fake an injury? Can't you fake COVID or something?
Maybe. It just seems so much easier to like just get one chapter of my life over with and I can like have a part-time job as well. But, again, these are like some things I'm weighing out, like should I not, how old am I going to be, yada, yada, yada. So I just can't rule it out, say yes or no or any of that yet. But Tom, I'm open to like hearing encouragement.
Chris, do you get this vibe? Am I wrong about this? I can't tell if you are the most confident woman on earth or the most ambivalent person on earth, and whichever it is, I feel like that's the gateway to your success.
Well, thanks. It could be a little bit of either. I mean, if you care too much, I think you get stuck in your own head and you lose the confidence that propels you forward. But if you don't care enough, then you're kind of like a pariah. So,
okay, are you confident?
Yeah, I'm confident. I don't like. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to figure out how to do it. If somebody has something negative to say about me, I'm going to be like, yeah, whatever. I've done fine so far.
What's the difference between beauty contestant level confidence and just being a plain old fashioned sociopath?
Are you saying that people on stage are sociopaths, Tom?
And I'm not knocking any of the millions of beauty queens who listen to this show, but I really do believe that there's a difference between being, or maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but like, do you ever go to these?
I think a lot of women or teens start competing in pageants to gain confidence because there's nothing like putting yourself out there in front of like hundreds of eyes and representing yourself and just being like, this is who I am. Like that is one amazing way to gain confidence rather than sitting behind your phone and typing mean little messages to people who can't ever see you.
My brother used to joke that you had to be crazy to be in a beauty contest. That you had to have, and to have so much confidence that you could walk into a room full of women and say, I deserve to be the most beautiful. Or is it like, where's the thin line between that being crazy and being confident? Am I asking that right now?
Well, that thin line is narcissism.
And how do you stay just not narcissistic enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like even to be a comedian, the balls it takes to walk in front of a room of people, grab a microphone while they're all drunk and have things they can throw at you. And to say, I think what I have to say is more important than you hitting on whoever you're with at this club. That there is a thin line between narcissism and confident comedian. In your case, are you born with that confidence or is it created?
No. Yeah, for me, I would say I was a very confident kid, had a very like rocky middle school period, like most people out there. And it got to the point where I was just like, you know what? I don't care anymore. Like everyone has an opinion and I just don't care. Like I'm going to just try and be the best version of myself at all times. And when you said ambivalent, like I'd never heard somebody describe it that way, but I do think you need to have that, like a certain level of like, I just don't care, because that's, you're confident in who you are and people are always going to say whatever they're going to say. And I think maybe that is where like my confidence came from, because the more I cared, the less confident I was, especially as a teenager.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that you're not a caring person. It's not that you are grateful. I think that's gratitude.
Oh, here, how about this? I don't perceive my self-worth from what extrinsically. I don't get it I don't get any part of my self-worth from the extrinsic validation that comes from society.
What can performers and regular people learn from Kim Layne and her confidence?
Identify what makes you who you are, and then go up there and just leave it all up there, because no matter if you do great or if you do poorly, people are going to say something about your performance, and you just have to be confident in who you are, and that will carry you the rest of the way.
Kim Layne, thank you for, actually, let me give you one last thing. And I don't know if I've really made this clear at the beginning of the podcast. What I think I've enjoyed most about reconnecting with you is when I feel like my performing career was being squashed even before I got sick. It was nice to share your adventure. And thank you for sharing that with me. I was probably it was almost a little bit, Chris will even say this, I was a little too excited about your adventure, but it was nice to see someone go to a happy occasion, to travel to a new place, and to have a shot at whatever quote unquote greatness meant in that little arena, and to see you achieve it, it made me feel good. So thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for being interested, Tom. That meant a lot.
All right, guys.
And thanks for the shout outs.
We'll talk about that when I hit stop. So that's Kim Layne, ladies and gentlemen. She set up a Twitter. What's your Twitter now? What's the Twitter?
Oh, it's at the Kim Layne.
Yes.
There's a lot of fakers.
Yeah.
I need a lot more followers. I just started it.
And go to her Instagram and start there. Kim Layne _ You'll learn about medical stuff. You'll see beautiful pictures. It's a treat. And that's a show. Next week, I have a comedian whose name is still... I got a big comedian and big things coming next week. And again, I may or may not still have COVID. It depends on how bad I want to milk this. Good night, Idaho.